Powered by Riverside.
Hello and welcome back to TheSadFan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week in sports. And Wes, we've got 2 weeks, and we want to get to the Olympics, and we want to get to all the scandals that have already started to occur, to include Team Canada. But first, we got people getting paid in the NFL. Paid. Big money contracts. And the crazy thing is, I don't see a Super Bowl amongst them outside of Patrick Mahomes when it comes to the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And Tua is just the latest to get paid along with Jordan Love. And I'm interested in your thoughts because honestly, Tua without his weapons, I don't know who he is. Jordan Love had really just a 9-game stretch there where we saw something, and all of a sudden they're worth millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. I'm looking at the list of highest paid quarterbacks right now for 2024, and Trevor Lawrence is right at the top. And I'm like, what has he done? He hasn't even made the playoffs. All he's gotten is a number 1 draft pick. Man, the others. Okay, Joe Burrow is up there. Joe Burrow deserves that. He's gotten them to the Super Bowl. He hasn't won the Super Bowl, but he's at least been. He's got the talent.
Multiple seasons of playing very well.
Yeah.
It's not just a small sample size with Joe Burrow. And you saw how trashy that team was without Joe Burrow.
So bad. Yeah, but Jordan Love and Tua also up there. So here's the thing. At least Jordan and Tua have gotten them to the playoffs. I mean, they haven't earned that massive payday yet.
I hear where you're going right now. You're really pissed off about Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm really pissed. But the Jaguars are so dumb. I mean, I think the Packers and the Dolphins kind of overreached a little bit. I think that eventually they will earn that paycheck, but they haven't done anything to earn it yet. But Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if he'll ever earn that paycheck. Maybe in 10 years when 55 is kind of the middle ground, but
how can they surround him with any other players when he's taking so much of that?
Seriously,
it's a salary.
It's clear he can't carry the team.
Yeah, so he needs to be surrounded with talent. How can you surround somebody with talent that's making that much money? The one thing about Tua's contract is a lot of the talent around him got paid before he got paid. So they're really just going to have to piece together the defense. They're going to have to piece together the offensive line probably. But the skill positions,
58 and 39 touchdown interceptions. 58 to 39.
You're talking about for Tua?
No, for Trevor.
Oh, yeah. Trevor is Trevor is bad. And Trevor also is the only quarterback on this list outside of Justin Herbert with a losing record.
Yeah.
All right, Trevor Lawrence, let me give you the records of the top 5 quarterbacks in terms of salary right now. 20 and 30, 29 and 22, 9 and 9, 9 and 9, 32 and 19, 66 and 50, and then 30 and 32. Okay?
It was 6, but I'll let it slide.
Sorry. So, I had to get to Justin Herbert, your boy.
That was low. That was low. Yeah, I don't think Justin Herbert's earned in the 50s yet either.
That team's in salary cap hell too.
Yeah,
that team is. I don't know what Harbaugh is going to do because that team is in salary cap hell. That team is overpaid for so many players. They had to trade away all their top receivers, so it's really just Justin Herbert and them guys.
Yeah, but Jordan Love, he's 9 and 9, but he also really balled out when it mattered last year.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, how many Super Bowls between those 6 guys do you think there are?
There's 0 wins, obviously.
Yeah, 0 Super Bowl wins. There's 2 Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah, because one of them's Jared Goff, who definitely earned it last year.
Yeah,
he completely turned around his career, like the whole story of his career. Because on the Rams, he just was not that great.
Yeah. Well, and they paid his number one receiver. He got paid. So he's at least got his number one target there. They're getting their tight end back because Sam Laporta looked great there. So we'll see what happens with him. But I think you're right. When we talk about Joe Burrow, when we talk about Jared Goff, you're talking about quarterbacks of franchises that are traditionally terrible.
Yeah, and then at the bottom of that list of the top 10 is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. 3 Super Bowls, three Super Bowls for Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
$10 million a year less than Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, he's appeared in 4 Super Bowls and he's won 3 of them. Okay, he's the only one on the top 10 list with a win in the Super Bowl.
At some point, teams just need to dig their heels in and say, "No, screw you. I'm not paying you that much," and then just make sure like the other teams around the league do the same thing. Like. He's not worthy of $55 million, bro. Come on.
Tua was really good last year, but he was also surrounded with talent. He had so much talent around him. I mean, Raheem Mostert had his best season ever. He had over 20 touchdowns as a running back.
He's also had the easiest schedule out of anyone in the entire NFL, I swear. It was bad. They didn't play a winning team until like week 14.
You're right. They did not. And when it comes to that aspect of the game, I mean, that's going to happen. Like, you can't control that. You go into the season thinking you have the hardest schedule or the easiest schedule, and then people get hurt. People don't perform the way we thought they would. Because paper's paper, right? The field is the field. We always think certain teams are going to be great on paper. You remember the dream team, as Vince Young called it, for the Philadelphia Eagles? And then they were trash. They were awful. So
bad.
You never know what's going to happen when it comes to these teams on paper. What we do know is the Eagles are probably going to have a bounce back season this year. What we do know is the Packers and the Lions are going to be competing for the top spot in that division. Like, the Bears are not going to be good. Sorry. Like,
Bears are still going to suck.
Yeah, it's going to take too long. Even if Caleb Williams is what I don't think he is, which is great. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be like Kyler Murray-ish. And Rome's already hurt, right? Rome has a hamstring tightness, so he's already hurt. The offensive line is terrible. It's just going to be very interesting to see where this goes as far as how these people perform, especially the rookies that came out this year. Like, JJ's screwed in Minnesota. I don't think he's going to do anything. You know what he needs to do? He needs to do the Matthew Stafford and just chuck it up to Justin Jefferson. You remember how Matthew Stafford used to just throw it up to Calvin Johnson? Like, that's what McCarthy needs to do, is just chuck it up and hope Justin Jefferson can track it down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And the one thing I didn't realize is it's like 5 weeks away. We're getting close. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm getting excited.
NCAA 25 already dropped. It dropped, of course, the week I go to training. You know,
I know. I haven't had a chance to play it, but
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
I know. 4 weeks until college football opening. Yeah, man.
One of those two things. Either I've gotten old or that game's gotten harder.
All right.
Those two things.
No, it's sad because the start of football means it's also the end of summer, which I absolutely love summer.
Where you live.
I mean, where football.
Where you live. The summer is very important.
Dump.
The summer is very important to you, yeah. Let's
I gotta take my vitamin D while I can get it.
Let's shift to the Olympics because you've got a bike ride coming up. And let me just rattle off some of the sports I've watched already over these first couple days of the Olympics. And remember, the Olympic ceremony doesn't mark the start of the Olympics. The Olympics actually start prior to the opening ceremony, with rugby, with soccer, and some other sports getting underway with their qualifiers, okay? So I have watched archery, swimming, rugby, men's and women's rugby, men's and women's swimming, soccer, men's and women's, gymnastics, men's and women's, tennis, boxing, water polo, equestrian, and skateboarding. Tell me that's not what the Olympics are about.
That's nuts. I mean, at least you're getting a lot of watching in. I have not been able to do much watching, unfortunately. But I definitely intend to later today and the rest of this week.
Do you have Peacock? Are you a Peacock guy?
I do have Peacock.
Let me tell you what the cheat is. You want to know what the cheat is?
What's the cheat?
So do you like NFL Red Zone?
Yes.
So they have an NFL Red Zone for the Olympics. It's called the Gold Zone. And it's got Scott Hansen and Andrew Siciliano breaking down the Olympics. And they're cutting into like the biggest moments in every sport. So we just saw Mexico win their first medal in archery. They won the bronze medal in archery, and it cut in right as they were winning that medal. Nice. I think it's awesome. Honestly, it is a cheat to get to catch up on all of these games. Like right now, we've got USA down 10-2 to Serbia, which, come on, guys. It's Serbia. They've just got Jokic, right?
Seriously, what are we doing? What is the U.S. basketball team doing? There's like zero chemistry. There's a million talent, zero chemistry.
What you when you got frustrated, Steph Curry hit a fadeaway 3-point shot. You got angry.
Myself.
But I love this for this reason is we get to see all these athletes that don't get to show out every single year. Really, like they have their world championships and things of that nature, or for the skateboarding competition, your X Games. That much. But people don't. You remember when the X Games was everything in the 90s? Do you remember that,
was
Wes?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yo, we used to tune in to see, is Tony Hawk going to get the 900? How far is the super jump? Remember the super vert on X Games? Oh my gosh.
That was massive. Like Red Bull and Mountain Dew and everything were just like marketing the crap out of X Games everywhere. I don't remember the last time I saw an X Games. I know it still goes on, but
it's like the strongman competition, right? Like it just disappeared. Like we lost the X Games. What happened to the X Games? We had like dirt biking, skateboarding, rollerblading, and now all of a sudden there's no like X Games anymore. What happened to the X Games?
It's still there. I feel like it's just not the audience there. They just don't hype it up as much. I don't know.
It's wild because you think it would be more popular because we're in like the TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, like short video. Like you have to go viral with a clip generation right now. And like what is better suited to go viral for this stuff than the X Games, than one huge trick, than a 900, right?
Yeah.
Like what's bigger than those moments where we're like, oh my God, I need to see that. Like we need those moments that the whole world needs to tune in for again.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I'm definitely pumped for just to see how the rest of this basketball plays out.
The 3-on-3s?
Also, yeah, 3-on-3s is going to be fun. Also, there's some sports that I'm looking forward to getting in. I was at the bar last night, and I saw foot volley. Have you ever watched foot volley?
I've seen it in ESPN 8 The Ocho. When the Ocho does their thing, it's like volleyball with your feet only, right?
Well, anything except your arms. So you can chest it. It's like soccer. You just can't use your arms. You can headbutt it, and I saw a guy. He did like a reverse bicycle kick to a spike. He was facing the net. He jumped up, flipped, and then used the bottom of his foot to spike it over the net. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I was like, these guys are so freaking athletic.
For our audience that is only tuning in on Spotify or Apple Music, Wes just pantomimed a bicycle kick in his computer chair, falling backwards with no support. What ass balance. He had amazing ass balance just now because he somehow stayed on his chair doing a bicycle kick with headphones plugged in. The level of difficulty in what he just did for our radio audience was pretty ridiculous. But of course, these Olympics are not without controversy, right? So, Wes, what's the controversy?
Before we get to the soccer, can we get to a little bit of other controversy?
Yeah, go ahead.
South Korean opening ceremony. Did you see that little boondoggle?
No, I did not. I didn't get to watch it. It was on mute downstairs.
The South Korean athletes were introduced as being from North Korea.
Oh, no.
Yeah, in like on the river.
That's not good. Well,
yeah. OC was like, "We're really sorry."
Who did that? Kelsey?
No, whoever the IOC people. It wasn't. It wasn't on the television. It was like the announcers that were actually there, like the IOC.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like when they're the ones that are like, and this boat has whatever, like Panama, Mexico, but they said North Korea, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, not without controversy. We didn't have to. I mean, you could have just lumped that in because that is one of the biggest mistakes, especially with world events and what's going on right now. Like, how do you make that mistake?
Seriously, like, ugh.
And it's not like it's recent, right? It's not like it's
No.
a recent thing. This is something that's been going on for over a half a century. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So what were you thinking when you make a mistake like that? How do
There's
you?
a big difference.
It's literally impossible to recover, and it's impossible for the Canadian women's team to recover from their scandal because they've been docked 6 points, right, Wes?
Yeah, 6 points. That pretty much eliminates them from the knockout stage. They're done. Like, it doesn't even matter what they do. And for those that don't know, it's because the women's soccer team, they were caught drone spying. They were two of their coaches were operating drones over New Zealand's practice, who's their first opponent, and so they were fired. And subsequently, their coach Beverly Priestman was also canned. And
terminated.
And they were docked 6 points by the Olympic Committee. So they're pretty much screwed now. Doesn't matter what they do.
And it sucks because they were you mentioned it in our pre-production that they were the last year they're the returning gold medalist from not last year, pardon me, from the last Summer Olympics.
Ago.
Yeah.
And apparently that's not all of the spying they've been doing.
Yes, go ahead, because you just brushed up in the production meeting about what's going on, so it's fresh on your mind. I had read about it. I think I pointed it out to you. I was like, yeah, this is not like a new thing for them.
So apparently the U.S. team was aware because they did a joint training camp in 2021 ahead of some competition, like international competition, in Florida, and apparently Canada was sending employees, staffers, dressed as security guards to film their practices. And
so they're the New England Patriots. They're the Bill Belichick's of the soccer world, the Canadians, without all the championships, right? They're basically like, what do they think they are? The Pink Panther? What is going, dude? And they're wearing like trench coats as security, trying to like film under their jackets, like they're like trying to post it on LimeWire back in the day
with the camera in the middle,
like filming the movie they're watching. What is going on with these people?
Yeah, and so here's the thing, though: U.S. elected not to essentially tattle on them because they wanted to preserve their bid for the U.S., Canada, Mexico 2026 World Cup. And I get it. That's a tough position to be in because, you have a lot of, like, you're very tied in with them, especially when you're hosting a World Cup together, and you don't want to ruin any of those relationships. But now that the cat's out of the bag, I feel like they're like, whatever. And apparently it also implicates the former men's coach as well, who is now the Toronto FC coach. So we'll
Not
see
Jesse Marsh, though. Not Jesse Marsh. He's still up there,
He's still there,
doing good things for Canada. While the Team USA men's national team is still looking for a coach, under 700 days until the World Cup. Maybe let's get that on lock, there, dorks. You're letting us down.
Have the old coach, which you rallied for them to fire for a year plus.
Yeah, finally, some
you got your wish,
good things happen. Yeah, now I have to rely on them to be competent, which, I'm sorry, the U.S. Soccer Federation is anything but. Now, our women are great.
Yeah, our women are phenomenal. Great. I think when win the gold this year, especially with Canada out of the picture, bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, look at them. Did you see the Trin spin? The patented Trin spin, Trinity Rodman? You got to see Trinity Rodman's goal in their first game of the Olympics. Trinity Rodman put it in between the defender's legs, the center back's legs, spun around her, and then hit the goal. Like it's called the Trin spin.
I made a note to search that up after we're done. Because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, she's great. Trinity Rodman, I've been saying this since she was in college. I was like, she's going to be so good. She's going to be the next great star for the U.S. women's team. But they've got so many great players, right? Sophie Smith, Mallory Swanson are all up and coming. They're all young. They're all great. I think that this is just a warm up for the next Women's World Cup. I think that they're going to show out in 4 years. I think this team is
I
going
hope
to be
so.
fantastic. They're going to be out for blood, and they're going to be the champions again. They're going to win another World Cup. Basically, our women's national team is what Germany is to the men's World Cup. Our U.S. women is that for soccer. And I think that they're going to get back to prominence, and it's going to start with these Olympic Games, and we're going to see them show out and be great right now. And
Yeah.
like you said, with Canada out of it, they're going to bring home the gold. They're just too talented. That team cannot underperform again. They've provided so many memories to so many people, and you really do see that representation matters in the way they play, because there's a reason why they're so talented, and it's because of moments like the one you just mentioned, Wes, that like it creates like that's my favorite moment in sport, or that's one of my favorite moments in sports, and it just breeds little kids that want to replicate those moments and be great.
Right. Yeah. U.S. needs something like that.
We do, and we need a star swimmer this year. Swimming is our sport. It's like, USA, Australia. We're always competing for the gold in swimming, and right now Australia's taking our lunch.
Aussies.
They're taking our lunch, but our men won. Our men won the 100-meter freestyle relay.
That's because they're always like swimming in the ocean with sharks, and so they got to learn to swim away from sharks, so they get really fast.
Very true. Very true. They do need to learn.
Swim.
What's crazy is, did you see where the surfing competition is?
No.
Tahiti.
Oh, it's in Tahiti?
Yeah, the Olympic surfing competition is in Tahiti, which absolutely, I was like, wait, is that France? is that, how does this happen?
As you can get, but that's awesome.
Yeah. So they're all in Tahiti, and NBC did a very funny thing. They had Colin Yost out there.
Yeah.
And he was like just doing basically his weekend report, like stand-up routine almost, while he's out there doing coverage live from Tahiti.
That's amazing, dude. I wish I could get paid to be in Tahiti doing sports coverage.
It is going to be great. There's so many good things going on. I really love the Olympics time of year. And I think next week, Wes, I'm hoping that we're talking about how the U.S. is leading the medal count. Because right now it is Australia and China leading the medal count. So USA has some ground to make up. But like I said to start the show, Wes, they wait till the second week. We are a track and field superpower as it pertains to this. Basketball superpower. We've got the 3-on-3 competitions coming up, and that's where US really shines. I'm also very excited to see what our US women's rugby team can do. Yeah, swimming as well. I'm really excited to see what our US women's rugby team can do after watching them dominate Japan. I think that that's a sport that we can dominate as far as female rugby is concerned. We just have some really athletic, great females in this country as it pertains to sports like the rugby.
Yeah, I'm definitely stoked to watch the rest of it. It's going to be a fun couple weeks.
For sure. Wes, any closing notes for us?
The Mariners, as always, are letting me down. They've blown the lead in the AL West. They are now 2 games behind the Astros and are barely staying above 500. However, they did trade for a big bat with the Rosarina, big home run hitter. So
yeah,
I'm at least glad to see them making some moves.
Trying, right? Trying.
Yeah, I knew this was going to happen. I knew they were going to let me down, especially once the All-Star break was over.
Yeah, that's a long-suffering Mariners fan right there. Like, I never think the A's are going to win. That's the best part about being an A's fan.
Right.
Like, it's almost the same as being a Raiders fan.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win. We've got Aiden O'Connell.
It's like every year they play a little better than the last year, so you're like, oh, this might finally be it. And they're like, and then the letdown is bigger every year.
But at least they're not sellers.
This 8-game losing streak was bad. Wait till this year's 10-game losing streak.
But at least they're not sellers this year. At least they're not selling at the trade deadline. They went out. They got Randy Arozarena. He's a great player. He's going to be great in the middle of their lineup. So they're buying. They're trying. They want to win.
Yeah. Speaking of sellers, I'm excited to see the A's in Vegas. I know it's going to be a few years.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
I mean, if it happens,
taking over the sports world, and we're getting really close to NBA announcing expansions. So
you're hoping you want those Supersonics back.
I guess in Seattle, bring it to the West Coast.
That would be interesting to see how they do that arena, right? Because Climate Pledge is a nice arena. It really is. And it's the home of the Kraken and it's the home of Seattle Storm. So it's a good arena. It's fun. The Seattle Storm, went into the All-Star break with a bang, to the Olympic break with a bang. They started to really perk up and play great together with Jewel Lloyd and Skylar Diggins. So we'll see what happens there. But you want those Supersonics back. You do.
I do. I feel like the NBA is not complete without it. Any real NBA fan should want the Sonics back.
I mean, it's one of the best sports towns in America, and anyone that says otherwise has never been to Seattle during a sports season. They are fantastic. They are a great sports town, and I just don't see a world where you don't rank them as such.
Agreed.
All right, sir. So, as always, thank you for joining us each and every week. Remember, you can reach us at the SadFan Podcast Network on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We are here for you, and we look forward to bringing you our Olympic coverage next week.